What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today we're talking about how I became a digital nomad while I was still in college. And I'm still in college, and I'm still technically a digital nomad, and we're gonna be getting into exactly how I did just that. I became a digital nomad while I was still in the middle of school. We're gonna get into exactly what my story is, what steps I took, what resources I consumed, and what advice I have, the most important, crucial advice that I have for other people, perhaps other students or other young people in general, looking to become a digital nomad. If you like this kind of content, check out my channel. I make a ton of content on happiness and self-awareness and entrepreneurship that you will probably find interesting if you like this video. With that said, let's get into the very first topic. So the first thing I want to cover in this video is exactly what my story is, what my experience was. I first heard of the term digital nomad maybe when I was like 17 or something, and I started really getting into self-development. And I was applying to colleges. I originally wanted to go to be an engineer. And then I started hearing all these terms around online business and entrepreneurship and digital nomad, and that really sounded pretty cool to me. It's like, oh, I can be a digital nomad and just have a business wherever I want, and then instead of being an engineer and having to work in a particular city. So I started learning all this stuff online, and my first goal was website development. I just started learning how to make websites, basic coding, HTML, CSS, that kind of stuff. Nothing too heavy. Then about 6 months into that, I started hearing about this Amazon thing and Shopify drop shipping. And if you're in the online business world or digital nomad world, you'll know these are very common. Business models for digital nomads, anything that's on the computer, basically. So I started trying Amazon, and I started doing Amazon arbitrage, which is just finding cheaper products on whether it be eBay or Walmart or Target or anywhere else, and then selling them on Amazon for a profit. I did that for a little while. Then I tried Amazon, actually private label Amazon, where I create my own products. I contact manufacturers in China. I talk with them. I negotiate deals for products. I ship them over to Amazon's warehouses and sell them on Amazon. I did that for a little while, had some success and some failures. I actually got my products, I accidentally sold restricted products without knowing it. And then I got struck down for counterfeit goods a little while later. So a bit of a bumpy ride on the Amazon front. And I finally just shut that idea down. And that was that was in my first year of college. I was doing all that stuff, dealing with all this stuff in my dorm room. My first year, I finished and I came back to Hawaii, where I live. And I decided that I wanted to do some social media advertising for local businesses because I picked up Facebook ads and all this other stuff doing my Amazon businesses, came back to Hawaii, wanted to apply that. So I started cold calling these businesses and cold emailing and just contacting everyone, trying to find a client that would hire me to do their advertising or marketing or whatever it might be. I eventually got a meeting with a restaurant owner on the West Coast, and I went down there and I had this whole meeting with him, and I tried to pitch him social media advertising, but he wasn't interested. And instead, I ended up selling him on a website. So I started doing website development for him. A couple of clients later, I'm the website guy. And I didn't really want to be, but I figured, hey, it's better than nothing. So I ended up going back to school after that summer. Nothing much happens, but then I come back when COVID hits in March. I come back to the island and I hit up that same restaurant owner. I say, hey, I'm back on island. What's going on? I want to get involved with you again, and like we can work together and do something else. So he's like, sure. Go down and meet with him. Turns out he's launching this whole new business because his restaurant's shutting down because COVID. I end up building out the whole online portion of his business, the website, the email marketing, the ads, and all this stuff. And I turn it into a social media advertising agency eventually, after months and months of just doing the other stuff. So it took me a solid 3 years from actually deciding that this was something that I wanted to do towards actually having the business and the money that officially categorized me as a digital nomad. So by the time around middle of 2020 came around 3 or 4 years after I really got the initial idea, I actually had a business that was qualifying me as a digital nomad. It was location independent. I did all from my laptop. I had the time freedom and the location freedom. Pretty much checked all the boxes, right? So that's my story. So throughout this whole journey of building this digital nomad lifestyle and business, what kind of resources was I consuming, and what were the most valuable things that really took me from just having the idea and wanting to do it to actually building the business? The first one I just have to mention, I listened to the Tim Ferriss show from, 2017, and onward. I still listen to it now. So years and years of listening, that kind of just programmed my mind to think in that way. I didn't actually read the 4 Hour Workweek until around January 2020, February 2020. And I would say that I don't wish that I had done that sooner per se, but it definitely helped me actually take the correct action steps and really put the plan into place and start making progress on the idea. So I definitely recommend reading that. It's like the Bible for all this stuff. If you haven't heard the recommendation already, I'd be very surprised, but that's it. 4 Hour Workweek, Tim Ferriss, all that stuff. The second guy that I really helped me plan my social media advertising agency and get that business up and running was a guy named Jordan Platten, who I found on YouTube, just has good content. I'll throw up some screenshot or something of him here. Check him out, he has good stuff. Last time I checked, haven't looked at him in a while, but I did get a lot of good ideas from him. And the last guy that I actually really started following and actually bought his course and was probably the most engaged with him specifically was Iman Gaji, or Gaji, however you say his last name. I bought his course after consuming a lot of his YouTube content, and his course was actually really, really helpful. And not even so much in the specifics of building the business. The thing that I found the most valuable from it was the sections on eliminating distractions and really just actually becoming a productive human being and someone who works consistently every day on the things that matter the most, because that is honestly the most important thing. And we'll get into that later. But those guys definitely helped me a lot. And the last guy I would say I consumed a lot of content of would be Alex Becker. Alex Becker was actually the initial person, it was one of his YouTube ads that got me into the whole online business world, as some drop shipping ad. And that sparked the idea for me. So I have him to thank for getting me into this whole thing, total random by chance. But he has a lot of good content on his channel as well. If you get a little older back, right now he does a lot of crypto stuff, but a little older back, he has more business, entrepreneurship type videos. Now, my last and final point, which is probably what you all care the most about, is what is my advice for aspiring digital nomads, people who want to build some kind of business that allows them to have this kind of lifestyle? Well, the number one point I'd like to make is it matters so much less about the particular model or tactic or strategy that you use, whether it's like Shopify or drop shipping or Amazon or SMMA or any of these things. Like, all of these models work. Really, the biggest differentiator is between those people that just sit down every single day and work for hours and hours. Not even like, you don't have to work all day, but you have to do the most important thing, which if you're starting a social media advertising or trying to get clients for any business of any sort, that's sitting down and picking up the phone and calling business owners. The most uncomfortable thing, I know it sucks, no one wants to do it, I didn't want to do it, but it's the thing, it's the differentiator. It's the thing that separates the people who have the idea from the people that actually, execute the idea. So just sitting down and actually reaching out to clients, sales, getting clients, that is the biggest differentiator by far. However, I would say that when it comes to business models and what you should start or what skill you should pick up, whatever you choose, don't try to copy both the model and the niche. And Alex Becker has a video on this that I'll try to link somewhere. But here's the thing. If you do, say, social media advertising, like what I do, and you say, okay, I'm gonna do social media ads and I'm gonna do them for restaurants. There's a lot of competition for that, especially probably where you live. I'm assuming you probably live in a more urban area than I do. I'm on the big island of Hawaii. It's very rural, so there was not a lot of competition. But chances are for you, there's gonna be a ton of competition there. The thing you wanna do, if you're gonna pick a somewhat traditional business model like advertising or dropshipping or whatever, pick the model, but then take it to a niche that hasn't been targeted yet. Like, I know Alex Becker talks about building a social media advertising agency around pediatricians or something. He just picks a random business model, a random niche, but one that hasn't been really like saturated. And what you do is you become the absolute best go-to person for that particular niche. And then if you build up this business where you do social media ads, but then maybe you also do like a little bit of email marketing, or you're just like the absolute best social media ads and doing everything social media for that particular niche for pediatricians, then you have very little competition because you're gonna outcompete everyone else who's just more of a general social media advertising agency. Because who would the business hire? Someone who just does everything, like they're in every niche, or someone who is the absolute best for pediatricians? So that's what I would recommend, is building this kind of specialized agency that is the absolute best at this particular one thing, and then you could build a sort of productized service around it. You could say, we have this product, we have this service that's basically a product. It's like a bundled deal specifically for your business, and we're the very best at doing this for your business. And then if you get results for them and you make them more money, you can easily charge plenty of money for that service. And my very, very last point and last piece of advice is regarding this idea of passive income. You probably are getting into the digital nomad / online business world because you want passive income, right? Make me money while I sleep. I would say get the idea of passive income out of your head in the beginning. Like, that is something that comes much later down the road. And in the beginning, I would focus on actually something closer to trading your time for money. It doesn't have to be exactly that, but something like a service. Even technically, social media advertising is a service. It's not a product. It's not something that will just generate you money nonstop. You still have to work on it and build it and, serve the service. So get this idea. I would recommend starting with a service. Get this idea of just like instant product, cash flow, SaaS, whatever you might have in mind. Get that kind of out of your head for now. Just do something that is maybe start as a freelancer, build it into a business, provide the service, build it up, make that specialized agency or some sort. And then later down the line, when you have the cash flow from your service, then you build some kind of product. But the thing is, those businesses that have a product require a lot more upfront capital. They have a lot more that could go wrong with them, whereas a service, you're basically cash flow positive from day one. So that's where you want to be when you're starting out. If you're in school, cash flow positive is really nice. If you're making money while you're in school, that's a really good thing. So that's my final piece of advice. And that wraps up the video. I hope that you found this useful. If you know someone who's trying to become a digital nomad or is interested in online business, and they're also on the younger end, feel free to share this with them, send it their way. I'm sure it'll help them. And if you like this kind of content, like I said, check out my channel. I have a ton of other content on entrepreneurship, happiness, self-awareness, that kind of stuff. Like this video if you enjoyed, comment down below, let me know what you think, subscribe, and we're good. Thank you very much for watching, and mahalo.